Recently, the new Lilo and Stitch movie came out, and to be honest, they did a very good job. That's why I will be recreating some of the scenes here in Minecraft. First, we are going to divide the scenes into 4 parts. The first part where Stitch is with these aliens, the second when he arrives on Earth, the third where the villains of the movie appear, and the fourth where some random scenes from the movie. Watching this first scene, we see that Stitch is inside an alien ship, so I started building it in Minecraft, starting with the glass dome that enclosed it. I placed a circle of light around it and raised it a little to make the ship around. I add some walls and some blue flags on the background, and we continue building the rest of the ship. I'm going to start raising these blocks up here to make the altar where the queen appears, and making a circle giant that simulates the window where you can see the moon in the background. The next thing I did was put the moon so it could be seen through the window, and continued making the background of another scene where the ship's workers are working. Lastly, build in the sky the ship through which Stitch escapes, and this is how the first scene is taking shape. And now that we have the first scene, let's make the model of Stitch, starting with these 2 cubes for the base, 2 cubes for the leg, and 2 more for the arm. 1 for the head and another for the ear. Very well, let's start adding texture by painting everything blue and painting the little eyes it has. Stitch, we make the face with a lot of detail and paint the rest of the body, and look how cute Stitch turned out. And now here within Minecraft, the first thing we're going to do is create a scene. I'm going to position the camera right here, and I will place the character in the center. Now I just have to animate it to match the scene. Alright, let's create the second shot of these initial scenes and position the camera right by here, which is where the queen comes out. We place her here, and I will give her this pose, and I only had to animate her mouth opening. Here in the third shot, I positioned the camera right by here, and I made this camera move. What remains is to place this character and animate it to look like in the scene. For the last shot of this group of scenes, I positioned the camera in the spaceship and started placing Stitch inside the ship. I also animated it and made it as similar as possible to the original scene.
We have apprehended a dangerous experiment.
He escaped.
Let's go with the second scene, and it seems that Stitch arrives on Earth and meets Lilo. So I went inside Minecraft to start building this second setting, starting with this room where it appears Stitch removing his antennas so Lilo wouldn't discover him. So I decorated it to resemble the scene as closely as possible. Then for another shot, I made these trees where the boy appears in a scene, and right next to it I placed this chair where he is supposed to be sitting, Stitch. And then here on the right I put some trees and this table here to simulate the scene where Lilo and Stitch sitting in those chairs. And this is how this second set has turned out. And now with the sets ready, we are going to start filming the shots. Starting by placing the camera for this first shot, we are going to place Stitch, but we are going to edit him and change his texture so that he's without the shirt. I'm going to make him smaller, and I am going to start animating the character like in the original scene. In the next shot, Lilo appears on this background, and for this character model, I had to choose from a Minecraft Bedrock add-on, editing its texture a bit, and as you can see, I placed it in its initial position. And I started animating it just like the scene. For the third shot, I am going to place the camera behind these trees, and we will position the character, who in this case is David. To create his texture, I simply modified a Minecraft skin and edited it to resemble the character as much as possible. And well, I just animated him and recorded the shot of this character. Okay, for the fourth shot of this scene, I positioned the camera on this chair, and now I'm going to have Stitch sit on Here, we are going to put it in this position and animate this shot just like the scene, okay? Next shot, where we position the camera here to place Lilo sitting in this chair and put her in the position of this shot, and right next to her, put Stitch making this super weird gesture and making it as similar as possible.
You sure that's a dog?
For the third scene, we are going to do this one here, where the movie's bad guys start to appear. Starting to build the set for the first shot, where we are going to place 2 trees, and in the middle, this black car is where the first villain appears. I also made this wall for another shot, and here I'm going to start shooting the scene where the bad guys from the movie try to shoot Stitch. I decorated everything as similar as possible. And back here is where the villains of the movie will appear, okay? Right here I am going to make a wooden platform for the shot where these 3 characters are shouting at the camera. Okay, we have it ready, so let's start recording. First, we create the scene, place the camera right at the view of the car, and we are going to apply the skin to the character. We put the binoculars in his hand and animate everything just like in the scene. For the next shot, I'm going to position myself on this wall, place the character from before, and I'm simply going to make him move his arm a little. Okay, for this other one, I'm going to move the camera to where the 2 bad guys appear, place them back here, set their pose, and then I would just need to animate them like in the shot, okay? In front of the bad guys, we're going to do the same. We're going to put a Stitch here in this position, and we are going to animate him to make the same movements as in the shot. Well, finally, we are going to animate Stitch, and I will have him do an animation where he is throwing the plate where he was eating the food, and then he throws it at the villains.
Agent Cobra Bubbles, I need to find out what kind of threat we're dealing with.
For the 4th scene, let's do this one here, where some random scenes appear. For this, I started to build this first shot, which shows Lilo's room. I made the bed with these wool blocks and decorated the rest of the room. Here I put a car and these blocks of... Here for the scene where Stitch appears with the car, and over here in the background I'm going to make this large setting where Lilo and Stitch appear with a car. So I'm going to start making these little houses here on the left, over here in the background this house with a roof, and I went on decorating everything to make it resemble the scene from this shot as closely as possible. Very well, here I started working on this shot where a man is eating an ice cream on the beach. So I placed these benches and these flower pots around here, and then here I put this sea simulation where the scene of them surfing comes out. Very good, we have the sets. So let's start filming the scenes. Okay, for this first shot, I'm going to place the camera just behind the bed, and we will place Lilo here and also Stitch in this position, and we will animate it so that Lilo gives Stitch a kiss on the nose. Well, for this shot we will place the camera in front of this car, and inside it we will place Stitch in the driver's seat and Lilo in the passenger seat, and I just animated it to resemble the original shot. Alright, now I went to the beach and placed this character here. We're going to sit him there chilling, and we'll make the ice cream ball falls, and then you see in close-up how the ice cream ball breaks into pieces, and well, finally, I animated this last scene where Lilo comes out with her arms
up on the beach, and this other one where they are surfing on a board. And very well, we are done. I'll show you all the scenes together.
We have apprehended a dangerous experiment.
He escaped.
You sure that's a dog?
Agent Cobra Bubbles, I need to find out what kind of threat we're dealing with.
You can't take him.
What the...